was very convicted of that we are given blessings to share them and not to hoard them, and both of us agreed that our biggest blessing is our family, immediate and extended, and we just wanted to share that with somebody that didn't have a family.
I think we just looked and said, we've been blessed with so many resources and things to give. We love children and teenagers and have worked with them for years, and we have the ability to do it, and there's a need, and so why not?
Yeah, so I want to be careful not to just glamorize what being a foster parent. Being a foster parent is being a parent. Like when we were working on figuring out how to get into this, and even looking back, it's like, hey, do we have like a bed? Like, do we have like a room? Like, can we take care of kids? Can we feed them? Can we take them to school? And that's like most, that really is like most of what we do as foster parents.
I think it's just enhanced our family. That was probably my number one reservation about going into foster care, is how's that going to affect our kids that we already have. And I just really feel like they jumped in, and it really, they were a big part of it. And I think their lives were enriched because they saw us caring for others as, Christ would care for, anyone. And I just feel like they're going to be more likely as a result to follow those ideals and maybe even foster themselves later on.
I feel like it gave them experience doing hard things for God's glory, and they were a part of it just like we were. They were right there in the trenches with us, and I think it's changed the entire family for the better.
I agree.
One of the greatest needs right now is foster parents who are willing to accept older children and teenagers. And a lot of times I feel like with prospective foster parents, there's some anxiety and worry over, what might an older child bring into my home? What might they expose my biological children to? I don't know how to talk to a teenager. And so it's hard to find foster parents who are open to that idea. But in our experience, there have been so many positives to fostering older children and teens. They are a lot more independent, which is helpful. They have a lot of the same interests that we do, and so sometimes it's even easier to find fun things to do, to spend time together. And they're able to process verbally what they're thinking and feeling, sometimes better than younger children.
So both of my placements in foster care have been over 10, and to be completely honest, that was kind of a scary thing to me at first. I work with kids and they're all 10 and under, and I feel like my wheelhouse is like a 4-year-old. But I just know that there was a need for that in foster care, and I know that sometimes that can be scary because by the time a child is 10, they've learned so much and they've been influenced by so much. And so a lot of times with younger kids, there's still trauma there, and it's presented in different ways, and I don't think one is easier than the other. But with a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old, they can voice how they're feeling, they can tell you what's going on, and you get to have some really meaningful conversations because of that. And so that's been really neat about fostering older kids, for sure. A lot of times people ask me, why and how do you do foster care? It's got to be so hard to get connected for a kid to leave. And I think that many times that's a huge reason that people choose not to do foster care. But I just believe that Jesus meets us in the brokenness, and that is where, when we look at scripture, we look at who Jesus is. He was physically broken to meet our needs. And so I think that foster care is full of brokenness, but that those are some of the sweetest moments. So I would say don't let brokenness be your no.
One of the frequent lines we hear when talking to people about foster care is, oh, I could never do that because I'd get too attached and it'd be too hard to give them up. And usually my response is, well, yes, I'm too attached, and that's kind of the point. If you don't think you can get attached to children, then you're probably not cut out to be a foster parent. What these children need is love and attachment and support unconditionally. And that's a big part of our job. And so, yes, I'm too attached. And yet I can also hold that side by side with knowing, like, this is someone else's child too.
Croswell has been an enormous blessing to us, fostering. I mean, it just, I had no idea what a blessing it would be, but just having that extra layer of support for me, for us, and for the foster children is unbelievable. I've always felt like I had an advocate, and I felt like our foster children had an advocate in everybody at Croswell.
Fostering through Croswell, I personally think has been the biggest blessing because you just get this built-in village. From Kelly and Kaylee and the people at Croswell specifically, but also to the other families who foster. Like, I know that when I get a placement that those women are going to be at my house with whatever we need, whether it's snacks or crib or rocking chair or books or a sound machine or food. I've had people set up meal trains. And that really is what has made fostering possible for me as a single woman, because I don't think that I could do this otherwise. I would tell someone who's interested in fostering to talk to people that are doing it. It's so different in every case and every situation, but I think one of the greatest things that helped me make a decision to do this was just talking to people who had experience doing it. I would tell them to pray about it. I would tell them to make sure that they have a support system, because I am a firm example that it really takes a village, as I am a single mom. So just making sure that you have people in your life that are going to rally around you and your family.
Well, one of the pieces of advice I would give is I would really think about doing it. But also I would consider the kind of people you have in your life that can help you do it. We're really blessed to have family nearby, and we've got a church family, and we've got coworkers and friends. And I think every single person in our lives has just been really, really accommodating, really, really helpful. Some of them have gone out of their way just to like meet the kids and hang out with the kids and help with the kids in ways that, like, I mean, it's just been really great. And so if you're thinking about going that way, think about the people in your life and kind of how they would react or respond. And if you don't have a support system, maybe think that one through first.
First advice is that fostering is not a way just to add a child to your family. That in a sense, you really are giving up your family as you know it, your time, your schedule, your family dynamic. You're willing to give that up to help a child that is broken. And so knowing that going in is some of my biggest advice. And another piece of advice is don't wait until your kids are grown to foster. A lot of people think that they want to wait till their kids are grown and then they're going to add some more kids through foster care. And our experience has been that it is so much easier on the foster child to just be one of the crew as far as the children and the schedule and everything else around the house.
Yeah, they like joining in with everybody else.
And then my last piece of advice is that if at all possible, a child belongs with their biological family, if it is safe and if it is all possible. And so the biological family should not be seen as the enemy. You have to push through as foster parents to let them know that you're on their team. But I feel like that's really important. I think it's been really neat watching all three of the ones that we've had experience new things for the first time. many of them, all of them, have played a sport for the first time, been on a team. We've seen them learn to ride a bike, we've seen them learn to swim, we've seen them do all kind of fun, ride in a boat, and that is an experience unlike anything else. So that's been neat.
I don't know that there's one event I would say that is the most memorable, but with my first foster placement, one night before bed, she just looked at me and she said, "We have a lot of people that really love us," and I'm gonna cry. My goal as a foster mom has always been that the kids that come in my home will feel loved, and that they'll feel loved by Jesus, by me, and by our community. And so for her to vocalize that, and for me to know that like she meant that deep in her heart, that she felt so much love, was a huge thing for us.